So I thought that might do, but then one day some guy turns up at my house, some guy I've no contact with, I've never met, some third-party receiver, I don't know who he is. He didn't turn up at my home because I don't give people my real address unless they're coming home for a stir-fry. But they found my mother's address and they turned up there and like my mum said, you got to take this bit of paper, and I was like, well, what is it? And he's like, well, he'll only tell you if you sign for it. And I go, well, I have everything I want, I don't want to sign for anything. And she's like, if you don't take it, you'll go to prison. If you go to prison, you'll get raped, thinking your poor mother's sitting at home worried about you. I was like, Mom, if I go to prison and I get raped and I'm thinking of you, then we have a fucking problem. But nobody wants to scare their mother, it's a horrible position to be in when your mother's scared, when it's my fault. So I try and work it out. I ask myself, what can I do? I ask other people with more knowledge than me. I study. I even read the Bible. I ask myself, well, what would Jesus do? And there's a paragraph in John's Testament where Jesus is versus the judge called Pontius Pilate. And Pontius says, are you Jesus Christ, King of the Jews? And Jesus doesn't say yes. He doesn't say no. He says, is it you who's asking, or did you hear it from someone else? Now this is a great strategy, answering a question with a question. Because if he said yes, he's saying yes to being a name. And they'd have jurisdiction over the name and he could lose. And if he says no, he's in dispute, again, the court would have jurisdiction. So I thought he was really onto something. Now, I know it didn't work out perfectly for Jesus in the end. But if he stuck with plan A, he could have been alright, He could have been alright. So I get this call from a private number. Now I know a lot of people are smart enough not to answer private numbers, but I believe that the universe loves me and likes to give me positive little surprises. So I say, hello? Is that Aidan Killian speaking? Why would someone ring me if they don't know who I am? Who's speaking, please? Is that Aidan Killian speaking? Who's speaking, please, and what is this in connection with? Oh, hi, it's Veronica here from the Bank of Ireland. Thanks, universe. Thanks a lot. But wait, maybe it's not a bad thing. Maybe she's not ringing from the collections department looking for 370 grand that's never going to be paid. Maybe, just maybe, she's ringing to tell me the truth. That money comes from nothing, it's backed by nothing, and therefore all debts and all mortgages are just an illusion. Fuck it, maybe she's ringing to apologise on behalf of her employers for their greed and corruption that's caused such misery to the beautiful people of this globe. So I say, hi Veronica, how can you help me? Turns out, she wasn't ringing to help me, wasn't ringing to apologise, and wasn't ringing to tell the truth. Rather, she was ringing to me to ask me for my personal details, so she could confirm that I am in fact Aidan Killian. But that got me thinking, who am I? I mean, am I Aidan Killian? Am I that sound, Aidan Killian? Am I the noise, Aidan Killian, Aidan Killian, Aidan Killian? Is that me? Or am I the name written down? Aidan Killian. Is that me? What about my middle name, John? Am I John Killian? Am I Aidan J. Killian? My name in capital letters or little letters, or is there a difference? And if there is, why didn't we learn that in school? Am I the legal entity that was set up on my behalf by the state without my consent when my parents signed my birth certificate? Who am I? Am I even my parents' son, a descendant of my ancestors that goes back to the beginning of the human race, which would mean that we are all like brothers and sisters? Hello? Nice to meet you. Or am I just me, this man here in front of you, human being, flesh and blood, with a soul that answers only to God? I mean, Jesus Christ said, know thyself. Who am I? Sorry, Veronica, I'm going to have to get back to you on this one. But Veronica was persistent. She put on her business voice. Look, Aidan, this is a serious matter. We need your details for security purposes, and may I remind you this call is being recorded for training and quality purposes. It's an important matter. Do you understand? Do I understand? Well, understand, according to Black's Law's dictionary, which is what the courts and banks use, means stand under. So the question is, do I stand under Veronica from the Bank of Ireland? And the answer to that is no. I don't stand under Veronica or any person at any bank. I don't stand under any person in this world, including those wig-wearing jesters that call themselves judges. The only being I can stand under is my creator. Or possibly my girlfriend, if that's what it takes. To take her to a place of extreme pleasure. Take her to a place where her soul and my soul become one and dance through the universe, leaving behind nothing but a shadow of bliss. type of pleasure that most women in this room will probably, sadly enough, never experience. Unless you're dating me. Well, I can't say that to Veronica because she'd think I'm crazy, and God forbid some person working at a job, you know, in a bank who's consciously or unconsciously creating negativity in the world thinks that I'm crazy. So I speak to her in her language, the language that I used to use when I was working in a bank. Hello, Veronica. Of course I'm willing to comply with all of your procedures. However, I have some of my own procedures that must precede your procedures that I'm authorised to carry out by myself. Now, it's my policy here to record all incoming and outgoing calls for my own personal amusement. Do you understand? Good, I'm glad you do. What I'm going to do, Veronica, is I'm going to ask you a few essential security questions, and as soon as you answer these questions, I'll answer whatever you like. But just before I do ask those questions, can you please hold? I like the flowers, I like the daffodils, I like the mountains, I like the rolling hills, I like the fireside when the lights are low. Here comes my favourite bit, Veronica. Bom-de-addy, 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 bom. Hi Veronica, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed the tune. I chose it because it represents beauty, love and nature, everything that's important in this world. But let's get back to those procedures, shall we? Okay, as I said, as soon as you answer these questions, I'll answer whatever you like. What is your second name? What's your date of birth? What's your address? And what are you wearing? I'm not answering those questions. Well, I'll be honest with you, Veronica, I'm a busy man. I'm just about to go and meet a man about a joke. So how about you give me your mobile number and we can continue this conversation at my convenience. I don't want a stranger ringing me on my private number. You know what, Veronica, you're right. So don't ring me again and fuck off. But I've had enough, you know. I've had enough lies, enough greed, enough corruption. I'd like to create a new world. A world of truth, consciousness and love. Who's with me? Yeah! I'm going to ask that again. A world of truth, consciousness and love. Who's with me? Yeah! A world of rainbows, butterflies and blowjobs. Who's with me? Yeah! It's always more men's voices. I think it's because we love the butterflies. I have had enough. I'd love to create a world, you know, a world where the courts don't represent the accumulation of funds, rather they represent justice. A place where policemen don't go around finding us for everything we do, rather they represent protecting the peace, where the education system helps us evolve as the brilliant human beings we can be, rather than brainwashing us with nonsense. A place where there's no fluoride in our drinking water. Fluoride in our drinking water, that one really bothers me. It's actually not so bad in the UK, it's regional here. So it depends on what region you're from. But in Ireland, 100% of all drinking water has fluoride in it. What's fluoride, Aidan, and why do you care? Good fucking question. Fluoride is a waste product from aluminium that was first used by the Nazis in the concentration camps to keep people passive. Today it's used in Prozac and rat poison. Sometimes it's the only ingredient in rat poison. No way, Aidan, that's a conspiracy. No way. Our government wouldn't do that. They love us. Why would they want to keep us passive? The reason it's in the water, Aidan, is because it's good for your teeth. The rat's fucking dead. But you're right, he's got shiny white teeth. I mean, I always filter that stuff out, definitely. I always filter that out at home, and I'm convinced it makes people passive. And the reason is because Athens are burning their country down. In Ireland, we're sitting back, getting high on fluoride, saying, ah, sure, it's grand. You know, we owe 3 times more than the Greeks. Ah, sure, it's grand. Ireland's a rich country. We own 3.8% of the world's gas. But before you start celebrating for the paddies our corrupt government gave it away and the Irish people get nothing. Ah, sure, it's grand. 200 billion euros worth of fish given to the EU in exchange for roads that we pay toll bridges on. Ah, sure, it's grand. Now we owe, like, I don't know, a gazillion euros, which means me, my children, grandchildren, everybody in Ireland are slaves to debt forever. Ah, sure, it's grand. It's not fucking grand. Politicians and bankers, you sneaky, and anybody else who deals in corruption, you sneaky, slimy, treasonous, treacherous, fucking scumbags, on behalf of the people of the whole world, fuck you! Or maybe I should just stop filtering my tap water and chill the fuck out. So I used to be a little bit angry about this sort of thing, and then I realised there's no point in getting angry because it's kind of me. By me participating in the system, by me paying into it, I'm feeding it. So I really wanted to work out, well, do I owe the money? Because if you do owe someone money, you should probably pay it back. That would be the moral thing to do. That's what people said to me, and I thought, well, that sounds fair. So I asked the bank for a contract. I simply sent them an email, please show me the original contract. And they wrote me back an email with without prejudice on the top. That means, I looked it up, I didn't know what it meant. It means that it can't be used in a court. Why would they do that? Are they trying to hide something? So I sent back a new email with a brand new thread with prejudice. I deal only in truth, fact and honour, do you? And they didn't answer that. And I was like, this is dead, they don't have the contract. And I started thinking they couldn't produce it. I gave them 72 hours, which is their rules, and they couldn't produce it. And I was thinking, why not? Why don't they have the contract? And I thought it was something to do with derivatives. Thousands of mortgages get together in one giant trade called an ABS, an asset-backed security, and they sell it all around the world, right? So maybe the contract's lost. But then I thought more about it. Yes, they have sold it without my consent, behind my back, and made money from my account without my permission. But it's worse than that, because actually there never was a contract, because I signed a bit of paper that's called a promissory note. This bit of paper that I signed that no one else from the bank signed it. And this was used to create the money. So actually I created my own money, and they made money behind my back. So I don't owe them a cent, they owe me money. But I believe in debt forgiveness, so I let them off. Thanks, guys. So I let them off, but then when I got their phone, the great thing was, I didn't care about the house, I don't care about the money, but all the fear was gone. Now when they rang me, it was just a game, my rules. So I get this call from a private number, and I say, hello, who's speaking, please? Hello, this is Frank Lucy, manager of the collections department at the Bank of Ireland. Can I speak to Aidan Killian, please? Yeah, of course you can, Frank. Presuming Aidan wants to speak to you. But Aidan's dedicated his life to creating more laughter in the world, so are you ringing in connection with something amusing? I'm ringing in connection with a mortgage that hasn't been paid in nearly 2 years. I'll be honest with you, Frank, that doesn't sound to me to be in the least bit amusing. But I can take a message if you like. I don't think you understand the severity of this situation. I need to speak to Mr. Aidan Killian immediately. Well, Frank, that's impossible because Mr. Aidan Killian doesn't exist. Because Mr. is a title used in Admiralty law, and a very low title at that. And Aidan doesn't believe in titles because he knows that every man, woman and child born in this world are free, equal and sovereign with rights more ancient and higher than any human statute. So if you insist on using a title, please use one that's more appropriate, like King. I'm not calling you King. Now, my colleague Veronica was ringing there recently, and you refused to comply with her procedures. Well, actually, Frank, she refused to comply with my procedures, as you could find from my recorded conversation. But maybe you, as her manager, might be able to help me. What is she wearing? A suit. Now, who are you? Now, that's a good question, Frank. Who am I? Who am I? Well, this is where I've got so far. I'm not a name, I'm not a number, I'm not a legal entity. I wasn't born into this world to pay money just to live. I'm simply me, human being, divine creation of the universe. But what you need is a name. So for the purpose of this call, you can call me Rhino Bunny. I'm not calling you Rhino Bunny. Now, you've made a mockery of this situation so far, and if you continue to do so, I'm going to have to pursue legal action. Legal action? Fuck! What does that mean? That means I might get a letter. And on the letter it might say Mr. Aidan Killian in capital letters, and I might foolishly think that's got something to do with me, so I might open it. First mistake. And it might say something like summons or demand on the top of it, and I might not realise that both of those words just mean, as per their dictionary, Black's Law's dictionary, request. So I might think I'm being summoned somewhere, but who can summons me? I don't have a king, I am a king. I might think that I have to go to a court, but I can't go to court because they speak a different language in court. You know, wouldn't you ever wonder why? Why do they speak a different language? They speak the language from maritime law, but I'm not a man of the waves. I'm a man of the land. So if I go there, I won't understand. So maybe I should get like a solicitor, a barrister, or a lawyer to represent me. But they've taken an oath to the bar, not to the client. So if I went there, I become a ward of the court, they'd have jurisdiction over me, and even if everything I said was true and fact, I could lose. And if I lost, I'd have to pay money, but I don't have money. And chances are they're not going to accept the currency of laughter. So they could send me to prison. And what would happen to me in prison? I could be physically abused, I could be sexually abused, I could be killed. So this guy, Frank Lucy's threatening me, a guy I've never met, is threatening me with torture, rape and murder. Hello, Frank. I need a moment to think about this. Can you please hold? I like the flowers, I like the daffodils, I like the mountains, I like the rolling hills, I like the fireside when the lights are low. Feel free to sing along. Bum-de-addy, 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 bum-de-addy. I meant Frank, but thanks guys. It's kind of my dream to have everybody ringing banks and singing bum-de-addy. Hi Frank, how are you? Listen, I've just been playing with you. I'll be honest with you, Frank. I'm going to answer any question you like, but I'm going to do it under one condition. The next time that you ring a human being about an alleged debt, make sure you have a contract. All I'm saying is just find one bit of paper that says contract that's signed by the human being you're ringing and any human being at your bank. And if you have that, make the call. And if you don't, question everything you're doing. Now, what would you like me to answer? Well, for a start, how do you propose to pay this mortgage? Well, Frank, whatever the question, the answer is love.